Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. So I'm Haniza binti Muhammad. So I would like to discuss on the assessment issue in Malaysia primary ESL classroom grading feedback and reporting. Okay. Assessment plays a crucial role in measuring the students' progress. But in Malaysia, certain challenges make grading feedback and reporting less effective than intended. Okay, these two major issues that we will cover today. Okay, the first one is the challenges with grading and reporting, which the use of CFR, Common European Framework of Reference, in Malaysia has led to inconsistencies, confusion, and teachers' workload issues. And the second issue is the written corrective feedback WCF challenges, which providing the effective feedback is essential, yet delay, overwhelming corrections, and inconsistency to make it effective for many students. And at the end of this session, I would like to propose practical solutions to improve the grading and feedback systems in Malaysian classrooms. Okay, the first issue we will analyze, okay, in grading and reporting in Malaysian primary ESL classroom. Okay, the education system shift towards using the CFR, okay, Common European Framework of Reference, which categorize students into levels such as A1, A2, B1, B2, and so on. However, teachers have reported three main challenges, okay, with these systems. Okay, which the first one is inconsistency in grading standards. Okay, a 2034 study by the National Institute of Education (NIE) found that CFR grading was not applied uniformly across different schools. Okay, for example, a student who writes simple sentences may receive A1 level in one school, but in another school, the same student is identified as pre A1 level, okay, causing disparities in student performance tracking. Okay, next, teacher workload um, and lack of training. Okay, according to 2024 survey by the Malaysian Ministry of Education reported that 45% of primary ESL teachers felt that they lack proper training to assess students accurately under CAFR. So many rural schools have limited access to resources for the teacher training. For example, a teacher from SK Mutiara 2024 reported that spending over 10 hours um, 10 hours per week just for CFR based grading, reducing their abilities to focus on learning, on the lesson learning planning. Okay, and next, parental and student confusion. Okay, where many parents are unfamiliar with CFR grading. So a 2024 case study at SK Tamamida showed that 70% of parents found it difficult to understand the meaning of A1, A2, okay, without a proper grading conversion chart. Okay, despite its challenges, the CFR grading system does have a significant benefits. Okay, the first one is comprehensive skill evaluation. So unlike traditional letter grades A, B, C, CFR assess all four skills: listening, reading, speaking, and writing skills. Okay, a student might be strong in speaking A2, but in a weak in writing A1. So allowing teachers to tailor the lessons accordingly. Next, international benchmarking. Okay, Malaysian students can compare their English proficiency with global standards, make it easier for them to qualify for international education programs or career opportunities, okay, in overseas. And lastly, less pressure on exam, where CFR encourage continuous fair assessment, okay, rather than relying on the final exam, providing real world language applications. Okay, however, there are some weaknesses, okay, which is a lack of grading consistency in especially in urban rural disparity, okay, with no standardized rubric of assessment. Okay, two students with similar abilities might receive different grades depending on their school's interpretations. Okay, for example, in SK Bukit Jalil 2024 conducted a study where three teachers graded the same AC, resulting in different three levels A1, A1.1, and also pre A1. Alright. Next, increase the teacher workload. Okay, in a survey from SK Seberang Jaya 2025 this year, 70% of teachers say that they spend more time on grading rather than lesson planning. So teacher manually track CFR scores leading to burnout and inefficiency. Okay, there are also some studies here. Okay, shows here. Okay, found that primary school use an average of 65.46 hours per week, while secondary teachers use 67.01 hours per week to perform their duties and responsibilities. So we can conclude that there are many studies shows that the increase of teacher workload after introducing the CFR grading system. Okay, this proves the point. Okay, lastly, lack of student and parent awareness. Okay, many students and also parents doesn't understand their CFR levels. So a study from SK Sri Mutiara 2024 found that 60% of students thought an A1 grade mean they have failed, when in fact it just mean that they were a beginner level. Okay, alright. Now we can improve grading reporting. Okay, I propose, okay, one of it is national CFR training programs, where to conduct annual teacher training workshops or programs on grading consistency. Okay, the second is implementation of digital grading platform. For example, like the use of application like Google Classroom, Seesaw, or Microsoft Teams to automate the CFR assessment. Okay, and lastly, the pilot schools with expert guidance. Okay, and also parents and student awareness programs. Schools should provide grading conversion charts to explain CFR scores in simple terms for most of them to understand. Okay, alright. Now let's come to second issues. Okay, the second major issue is written corrective feedback (WCF) in ESL classroom. Okay, feedback is meant to help students to improve their writing, but three main problems arise. Okay, the first one is delay the feedback. Many teachers handle large classroom of 40 students. Okay, example, a teacher at SK Jalan Ipoh in 2024 reported that it took over than 2 weeks to return the students' essays. Okay, next, overwhelming feedback. Okay, some teachers correct every single mistakes, which demotivate the students. So a study from University Malaya in 2024 found that 60% of students ignored the feedback when too many corrections were given. And lastly, inconsistent feedback methods, where some teachers use different corrections while others use coded feedback. Okay, for example, WW for wrong words. Okay, a survey from SK Bukit Jalil 2024 found that students preferred consistent correction methods. Alright, okay. Strength of the WCF. Despite its challenges, okay, WCF has many strengths as well. So WCF provide a direct guidance to the students. For instance, when a student write a sentences like she go to market, okay, teacher can correct it by she goes to the market, highlighting the verb agreement. So this help the students to understand their mistake in context. Okay, and next, motivational impact. Okay, a case study conducted in SK Bukit Jalil in 2024 show that students who receive regular constructive feedback are more motivated to improve their writing. So, students reported feeling more confidence, okay, after receiving the feedback that not only pointed out their errors but also acknowledge their strengths. Okay. However, there are weaknesses in the way WCF is currently implemented. Okay, as I noted, large class sizes presented a major issue. Okay, teachers simply don't have time to provide in-depth feedback for every student. Okay, in a case like SK's Brown Jaya, okay, 2035, a teacher reported that taking over 2 weeks to grade it and provide the feedback on a class assignment due to a large size. Okay, and sometimes feedback can be overwhelming. Okay, in a study of National Language Center 2024, students who received extensive corrections, okay, reported feeling discouraged by the sheer volume of feedback, especially when they didn't know how to prioritize which areas to focus on. Okay, and delayed response reduces the impact. Okay, now come to suggestions for improvement, okay, in WCF. So there are several ways to improve the implementation, okay, through the written corrective feedback. Okay, the first one is teacher can be trained on prioritize the key errors in students' work rather than correcting every mistake. So this approach helps the student to focus on the most important areas for improvement. Next, peer feedback groups, okay, could be implemented. For instance, students can work in pairs or small groups to review each other's works. Okay, in a study of SK Jalan Ipoh 2024 found that peer feedback encourage more collaborative learning and help the student to develop critical thinking skills. And lastly, okay, suggestion for improvement. School could integrate technology based feedback tools like Google Docs or educational apps that allow teachers to leave comment in real time. Okay, this reduces the time gap between submission and feedback, allowing the students to immediately apply the corrections. Okay, so here we have a chart that compares the student performance before and after the implementation of CFR. Okay, so as seen in the data here from Sekolah Menengah Setiawangsa 2025, okay, student who receive consistent feedback, okay, showed a better improvement, okay, here you can see, okay, for moderate, above moderate, and the highest. Okay, so we can see here for the above, okay, is 63% and also 22% for the highest one. Okay, we can see here feedback greater improvement in their speaking and also writing skills. Okay, and also we also have infographic here showing the feedback progress from submission to teacher comments, peer review, and also final revision. So this streamlined process help both teachers and students manage the feedback more effectively. Okay, in a conclusion, all right, While the new grading system and writing corrective feedback are crucial tools, okay, for improving the ESL education in Malaysia, okay, there are significant challenges that need to be addressed. Okay, these include ensuring the consistency in grading, reducing administrative burdens, and making feedback more timely and effective. Okay, and we can make this assessment practice more effective and fair by implementing the teachers training, standardized rubrics, and incorporating the technology. So this will not only benefit to teachers but also provide the students with better learning experiences. So I think that's all for today. Thank you for attention. So thank you. And before that, okay, and before that, so here are the list of the reference that all that I said today during these presentations. Okay, the reference list. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.